him, not as a quarterback, as a tight end. It would reunite him with his college coach, Urban Meyer. Tebow, 33 years old. Guy hasn't played in the NFL since 2012. And, what's he been up to lately? Coming off an attempted baseball career. So, Brian Westbrook, let's start with you. How does this all sit with you?
Good morning, guys. And Jenna, to be honest with you, I don't like it. And I don't want this to come off as Tim Tebow hate, because it's absolutely not. And I think Tim Tebow is probably a great guy. But I just want to mention that this is a privilege that not many people in the world will ever receive, the ability to go out there and try out for a sport in a different position at the sport's highest level after not being on the field for a very long time. That's just a privilege. And you know, when I talk about that, Brandon, I have to wonder, if I'm a vet on that football team, what would my feelings be? What would I be thinking at this point? Because you're bringing Urban Meyer, and he's certainly talking about commitment to the game. He's talking about winning. He's talking about dedication and all these things. And I would have to wonder, is this a PR stunt, or is this commitment to winning? Or is this putting us in a position that's going to be closer to helping us win? Everybody likes Tim Tebow, but I'm talking about winning football games. And I don't know that he's going to be one of those guys that's going to help you win football games right now. And unless I find that out, and as a vet, I wouldn't like it at all.
So, B, I don't know if you were watching the show earlier, but we did Drawing a Blank, and we talked about Aaron Rodgers going to the Denver Broncos and how Patrick Mahomes would feel. And I used the words, Phillip Rivers' words, gosh darn it. And that's what I got to say here. Gosh darn it, Brian, you put me in a bind here. Because everything that you just said is right. You know what I mean? Because we talk about respecting the game. We talk about how hard it is and how it is a privilege. And, you know, we go on and on and on. There's only a few that get an opportunity to do it. There's less than 2,000 guys each year. But, Brian, I want to see this. Brian, I want to see this.
No.
Why not? Why not? Why not? B, everybody today that's going to be talking about Tim Tebow, I guarantee you come week 1, they will be watching. Yes, they're going to be watching for Trevor Lawrence, but they want to see Tim Tebow go out there on a 3-by-1, line up against the linebacker, line up against the safety and see what he has. Like, why not? Why wouldn't you want to see this, Nick?
Well, no, okay. Nobody wants to see that, Brandon.
Sorry,
wait. But Nick, hold on. Nobody wants to see that. People want to see the best 1,700 athletes in the world when they turn on the NFL. Tim Tebow is not one of the best 1,700 athletes in the world.
There's a lot of things we might want to see. You know what I'd like to see? Honestly, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see that tiger that was running loose in Houston try to field a punt. Like, Fox used to have a great show, Man versus Beast. Like, I think Ocho Cinco raced a horse. Like, that's captivating. It doesn't mean it's worthwhile to put on your football team. Guys, Tim Tebow last played a football game December 17th of 2012. December 17th of 2012. And he played it poorly at a different position. I'm shocked that Urban Meyer is doing this. Shocked. I think Brian is obviously right that this is not going to sit well with guys in that locker room. I think it is minor leaguish as far as, hey, let's get eyeballs on us when you don't need that. You just drafted Trevor Lawrence. It's an unnecessary, even though I think distractions are mostly overrated, it is an unnecessary distraction. And if it's just, hey, we really want to have him around, as I've said before, Wilds, there's a position on a football team for guys who used to play, who you want to be able to impart wisdom, inspire, and have around. They're called coaches. You can hire him as a coach, but this idea that Tim Tebow for the last decade has been on some, fantasy camp tour of, hey, I always wanted to try television. Let's go do it. Baseball. I always said I'm going to try baseball. Let's go do it. The tight end. I always want to try it. Like, what? Why? I don't know why Urban Meyer's doing this. I don't know why.
Okay. All right. So I think that's where we're going to end up. I think we're going to end up as Tim Tebow as Jacksonville coach. But before we get there, Brandon, I think Tebow's like, you know what? Give me a shot. It's an itch I want to scratch. Now, do I think it's going to work? No, because here's why. When he was on the Patriots, he was 25 years old. He was reunited with Josh McDaniels, which he had a ton of success with, and he was coached by the greatest living coach in American sports history. And a coach by the name of Bill Belichick, who's not afraid to move people around. You have Hall of Famer Julian Edelman, former quarterback. Now you're a wide receiver. Guess what? You play a little defense. Hey, Mike Vrabel, you want to catch some touchdowns? Do that. So I don't think Belichick was afraid to move people around. And he had a 25-year-old Tim Tebow that he played 2 games in the preseason, and then he cut him. So I think that's what we're going to see again.
Right.
I think we're going to see a guy get a chance, see that it's not going to work, but Urban Meyer is going to be like, you know what? You're such a good presence in the locker room and a leadership guy. I'm okay. I like it, but I think he's got to scratch the itch to play and then become a coach.
But the boring Betsy's over here, Nick and Brian, they're like, well, just giving him a shot, there's a problem. Like, give the guy a shot. Give him through OTAs. Give him through camp. Now, that's when it becomes a problem, Brian. If you know this dude can't help you and the coaches give you the spot, or they give him the spot over a guy that you know, man, this dude was actually balling in camp. This dude was deserving of that spot. I'm okay with this. Let me ask you a question, B. If Usain Bolt, right, throughout his years said, you know what, I want to go play football. I want to go play wide receiver. I want to take my speed, and I want to go play with Patrick Mahomes. I can go run a 9 route, I can go run a big post. He can catch. He can get in and out of his breaks. He can decel, that 15-yard comeback, 20-yard in cut. And he comes in, you give him a shot, and he does it. And I'm using Usain Bolt because of his skill. He has a specific skill. What about Westbrook? Westbrook, we're talking about him being one of the most dominant players, our top 10 dominant players ever in the NBA. We're talking about him, how explosive he is. What if we put him at safety and he goes out there, his back pedal is great, he has the football IQ where he can read, you know, what's going on the offense, and he likes to hit a little bit, and he can catch the football. Will we not give him a shot? Would you feel disrespected then?
Well, I think the difference is if Westbrook went and said, I want to play forward now, then we may look at him a little bit different, but it's still basketball. If Usain Bolt said, I don't want to run the 100 or the 200, now I want to run miles or something like that, I'm later in my career, I want to do something in the same field, then, you know, maybe. But we're talking about Tim Tebow being in a position where he wasn't very good in the NFL at the quarterback position, and now he's trying to play tight end in a situation. And this is where I would be upset. If I was one of these young tight ends, 22, 23 years old, that's been fighting my butt off for the last 3 or 4 years after college trying to get a tryout, and I can't get a tryout, but a guy like Tim Tebow, again, a great guy, but he gets an opportunity at 33 years old, and after not being in the league for a very long time, I'm like, well, what do I need to do? Do I need to be best friends with the head coach for me to get a tryout, or do I need to be the best player at the position, or the best player that's going to get a tryout? To me, that's the answer to the question when we look at it.
It's you got to have a connection to the head coach, and which is why it won't play well in the locker room. Yeah. And again, if Russell Westbrook wanted to go try out for the NFL, it would not bother me. If Russell Westbrook was a decade removed from playing basketball and went to go try out for the NFL, I'd be like, well, that's ambitious. Again, Tim Tebow has not played professional football in nearly 10 years. I understand he was playing semi-professional baseball, but the athleticism you need to bat .210 for the AA Mets compared to the athleticism you need to play tight end in the NFL are apples and bowling balls.
Right.
And there is the part of you that, to Brian's point, feels like it's unfair because it is a zero-sum game of opportunity, that it's unfair for a guy who's not going to get the opportunity, but life's unfair. Then there's the logical part of me that just says, why the hell would Urban Meyer do this? I don't think I'll take the under on 0.5 snaps in the regular season. Under. I don't think he will make the roster. I think it's just a waste of time.
But then you also wonder, if you do bring him in as a coach, if his message is lost on you as a player, his message will probably get lost on these guys as a coach or as some sort of veteran presence as well. All right, we'll talk more about this in a little bit. We got to get to some NBA. Big night last night in the association, thanks to that guy right there.